Okay, you're good.
All
Thanks,
right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is March 6, 2025, and welcome to the Racing and Gaming Subcommittee voting session. Um, we will discuss two bills today and then offer votes later on. So the first bill, well, first of all, welcome everyone, members. This is our first meeting. And for those who are here observing, and as always, I'd like to acknowledge George Butler, who is the most fantastic attorney for our subcommittee. Anyway, let's start with the first bill is House Bill 618. It's the lottery internet sales of subscription plans authorization. And in essence, this bill authorizes the state lottery and gaming control agency to establish a system or program that allows for the purchase of a state lottery subscription plan for certain lottery games through an electronic device that connects to the internet, such as personal computer or mobile device. There are two amendments, and I'm going to ask George if he would share those. Oh, I could do the amendments. You want me to do the amendments? And if they're correct,
I'm happy to describe the amendments, Madam Chair. The amendments specify the types of state lottery games that may be offered through a state lottery subscription plan online. They would also authorize the agency to permit a lottery retailer to sell a voucher that may be applied towards the cost of a subscription plan and require the agency to submit a report to the General Assembly on state lottery subscription sales.
Delegate Patterson.
thank you, George.
Delegate Hartman has his hand up.
Thank you. Delegate Hartman.
Thank you. So a question, George. The amendments, you're saying that it's for certain games, 4 games that are being allowed to be done. Can you go over that?
Sure. Those currently are multi-jurisdictional games such as Powerball and Mega Millions, as well as 2 additional draw games. And I'm sorry, just give me one moment. I know Cash for Life is one, and the other is, I believe, a multi-match game. This would not apply to any of the instant games. Yes, multi-match. It does not apply to any kind of an instant game that the lottery offers.
And you're saying a voucher. Help me understand that.
So effectively, it would permit the lottery agents to sell effectively a gift card that could then be used by somebody online when they set up their account and purchase the subscription.
So where the voucher is sold, that agency will be getting a commission, correct?
That's my understanding.
So does that mean that's correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
Please, if I'm incorrect, if any of the members of the lottery would be able to opine.
So let's give the hypothetical. My dad goes to the lottery every week, buys his, Mega Million or Powerball. So instead, I'm going to give him a subscription, but he always goes down the street and gets it at the same place all the time. So I buy him the subscription, there, he does it. When it comes up for renewal, is the lottery going to be soliciting those people to take that customer from him, then try to get a renewal on that? Or will he be encouraged to go back and buy that voucher at that little mom and pop business that we need to support?
I think that would be a decision for the customer to make as to how they choose to fund their account and how they'd like to pay for the subscriptions.
So the question is, will the lottery be soliciting that subscription holder for a renewal?
I cannot speak as to what the lottery is going to do.
Can the lottery speak as to what the lottery is going to do?
And Mr. Butler, do you want to chime in?
So I can, Julianne has been working with the retailers on that. Julianne, you want to weigh in and let the committee members know?
Sure. So thanks for the question. Upon renewal of a subscription, the player would have to either return to retail or upload a new payment mechanism, because the original subscription was paid with a voucher. So they would have to put in either their bank information or debit card information in order to get their new subscription or a quote unquote renewal. The lottery did commit to the retailers that any advertising we do in relation to subscriptions would include that subscriptions are sold at your Maryland Lottery retailer, so that they are a partner in our subscription sales. So hopefully that answers your question, Delegate.
No, it didn't. It avoided it altogether. So if there's a subscription holder, will as that nears expiration, will the lottery be soliciting them for renewal and avoid the merchant where it was originally purchased? I mean,
The
if
answer-
you guys are silent on it and you don't do anything and it expires, that's one thing. But if you're trying to solicit a renewal, that's my question.
So the answer to your question is no, we're not going to steal the customer information and not put them back at retail. We would let them know that their subscription is expiring, and if they wish to renew, they could renew at any Maryland Lottery retailer, or they can do it online.
Okay, so the answer then is yes. So thank you for that. So since this, we're going to be cannibalizing the customers from the retailer with this. Last year, I think in the budget, we took away part of their commission and part of their redemption. So they're hurting already. And then, there's a lot of other forces going against our small businesses. So now this could potentially erode their lottery business. By them participating in this, they're going to be, the first time they get paid, but then after that, they're not getting paid. So is there any way that we could amend this so that as long as that's renewed, that original vendor, as long as they're in business, gets the proper commission on the sale, because that's where the sale originated? I think they deserve that commission in perpetuity.
So I'll answer that question in two parts. One, the number of games available on a subscription are the 4 that George correctly listed. So any other lottery product, the player would have to return to retail. So if they wanted a fast play game or an instant game or Keno or racetracks or pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, bonus match 5, anything else in our portfolio, they would have to return to retail. Subscription players play the same numbers for every draw for 13, 26, or 52 weeks. So these are not impulse purchases. Additionally, because the original subscription, the one that you gifted to your dad, was paid for by a voucher, his account has no payment method loaded into it other than that voucher, which is now depleted. So it's not technically a renewal. It's a new subscription for either the same numbers or different numbers or whatnot. So can the bill be amended? That's up to this committee. We did commit in uncodified language a report due to Ways and Means about the sale of subscriptions at retail, online, and we can include renewals. So if after a period of time, we see that there's a disproportionate amount of renewals leaving retail and coming to online, that's something that can be revisited in the next legislative session, should the committee feel like that impact is so negative.
Yeah, in this session, we're hearing so much about our dependence on federal government jobs, and we're seeing, whereas the reality is coming that we're losing them, and how we have to build start building where we have private sector jobs. I really think that if we don't support our small business in this, we're going to be hurting the private sector greatly with this. I mean, I don't know if they can handle a blow every year. So, I mean, Madam Chair, I'd really like to see this amended, whereas there's a simple, portion to that shows where this originated, the gift card or whatever we're going to call it, the voucher was purchased, and that the lottery pay a commission in perpetuity as long as that's renewed and that entity's in business.
All right, that's for consideration. Julianne, is that included in what we're looking at now in terms of the amendment or the original bill?
No, the in perpetuity would have to be a new amendment.
All right. Delegate Buckle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Delegate Hartman addressed some of the concerns that many of us have. To see, my understanding is that lottery and gaming is generally unwilling to allocate a portion of the commission for the renewal of a subscription plan to the original retailer that sold it. And I guess the question that I would have for lottery and gaming and for Madam Chair, the bill sponsor herself, is there some openness to a compromise on that position that would perhaps allocate a portion of the commission for the sale of the subscription plan renewal to the original retailer subscription seller, if that's how the plan originally came in, or would at least guarantee the first renewal of the subscription? I mean, there's a lot of different ways with the math that you can do this. That there may be some favorable benefit to the original retailer for getting the person interested in the subscription plan, and then perhaps they continue it on for months, years, however long. I don't play the lottery unless it gets to like $1 billion, and then I have fantasies and dreams of what I'll do with all the money. So I'll play the lottery, but I understand that a lot of people want to play every day, every week in these games, and then. So I'm just throwing that out there for Mr. Butler, Ms. Fiastro, as to whether or not you'd be willing to engage on those issues with some degree of compromise. And then secondly, and independently from that, the uncodified language in Section 2, which I really appreciate, that says that the lottery agency is going to make a report back to the General Assembly, giving us some data about the lottery subscription sales, how many are sold directly by the agency versus the retailers, so we can really consider with hard facts. I'm not opposed to raising the size of the pie for the lottery, and as a result, the state agency gets a bigger slice than what they currently would have. They get more revenue. What I don't want to do is keep the same size pie roughly and just shrink out the retailers, the brick and mortar retailers, from their fair cut of the pie. And so is there a willingness within the uncodified language to just simply include this subscription renewal issue, that data would also be included, because it says including the number and amount of subscriptions sold directly by the agency and number amount of vouchers sold by licensed agents? Maybe we could include some very simple language. George Butler's at it better than I will be, but says something to the effect of, also including the number of renewals that are made from a voucher plan or a voucher originally sold from a brick and mortar retailer, or whatever we'll call them, the licensed agents. Something like that could give us some data on how much the renewal issue may cannibalize the retailer traditional end of the cut. And then more broadly, if the agency and the bill sponsor are willing to those discussions to find out a compromise position on the renewals, I'd like to support the bill. And those are kind of the two objections, I guess, or the two interest areas that we have left.
Well, thank you both for those comments. Unfortunately, when when House Bill 618 was presented, we heard the arguments, and then we certainly worked behind the scenes with the retailers to come up with a compromise and with the amendments. What we're hearing now, I don't know if it is new. So we will then have to, my suggestion is that we take your considerations back for modification, etc., and then we hold this bill if there's unreadiness amongst members. Delegate Hartman?
Oh, maybe I never lowered my hand, but I appreciate your willingness to hold it so that we can consider making this fair and equitable for for the business that first sold it. I mean,
Yeah,
from
let's be very clear about we've talked about a lot of things. If you could give some bullet points so that Julianne and Mr. James Butler and Jennifer can work behind the scenes and get this out. We only have a few more,
Simply
you know,
to pay
few
commission,
sessions left, okay?
simply to pay
We'll
commission.
do
to
that,
board
Delegate
members.
Patterson. We'll talk to Ms. Fiastro, whoever else you want to, today, tomorrow. And, I don't intend, if we can't reach a compromise that everyone can support the bill and you need to move the bill first part of next week, it is what it is. But we'd love to have the conversation. I think there's some way with the math of this, it's all just a math problem,
Okay,
to maybe make some compromises that might work.
I appreciate you. Any other questions? We'll hold this bill. Then the next bill is House Bill 399. The bill authorizes an organization based in Baltimore City that is affiliated with a professional Major League Baseball team that plays its home games in Baltimore City to conduct raffles. There are two amendments. The amendments really limit the sales of raffle tickets under the bill to within the boundaries of the Major League Baseball stadium versus Baltimore City.
Move the amendment.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second. All those in favor, please show of hands.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you very much. And move the bill as amendment.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much. We will meet again, maybe several times next week. Thank you for your discussion, and I'll see you in a few minutes on the floor.
Madam Chair, can I ask, the list we got included 465. Are we not doing that one today?
Because of
It's
the
okay. I just want to know if I screwed something up.
No, we're not doing it. We'll probably do that next week.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kara,
Okay.
and thank you,
Bye-bye.
members, for being present. Thank you, George Butler, as always.
Thank you. See you.